Today, I'm not here to talk to you about religiosity. I'm here to talk to you about running away. Because you say you don't know why your life isn't moving forward. But every time purpose calls you, you run. You hide in your work, in your excuses, in your false humility, and you keep praying for something to change. But how will it change if you keep running away? Listen, I want to tell you a story because you're not the first one to do this. And I want to show you what Jonah never understood. Let me explain why you run from your purpose. Because it's easier to complain that nothing works than to face what I'm really asking of you. It's more comfortable to say God doesn't listen to me than to admit that you don't want to obey. Jonah knew exactly what I wanted from him, but he also knew it was going to be difficult, that it was going to be uncomfortable, that it would challenge everything he thought about justice, about forgiveness, about mercy. So he did what you do when I call you to something great. He ran in the opposite direction. Let me take you to that day. In a dusty city, under a heavy, hot sky, lived a man named Jonah. He wasn't extraordinary in the world's eyes. A prophet, yes, but human, with fears, with prejudices, with his own agenda. That morning, while the aroma of freshly baked bread filled the streets of Israel, my voice pierced through the silence of his heart. Jonah, arise. Go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim against it the message I will give you. His eyes shot open. Nineveh, the capital of the empire that had tortured his people, the Assyrians who had destroyed families, enslaved children, profaned temples. You want me to go preach salvation to them? And in that moment, Jonah made the decision you make every day. He decided he knew better than me. I watch him walking toward the port of Joppa. His steps are quick, determined. In his mind, a perfect plan. If I run far enough away, God will have to find someone else, someone more willing, someone who doesn't have my complications. Tarshish, the farthest destination he knew, the opposite end of the civilized world. He pays his fare without bargaining, boards the ship without looking back, hides in the cargo hold among sacks of grain and jars of oil. Mission accomplished, he thinks. Now God will have to solve this without me. But heaven doesn't forget those who are called. The first night at sea, everything was calm. The second night, too, Jonah began to relax. Maybe it had worked. Maybe I had gotten the message. Then came the third night. The wind started as a whisper, then a moan, then a roar that made the sails tremble. The waves grew like liquid mountains. The ship shook like a nutshell in the hands of a giant. The sailors screamed, each one cried out to his God. They threw cargo into the sea to lighten the load. They did everything humanly possible. And Jonah slept. Can you believe it? In the middle of the storm he had caused, he slept soundly in the hold. Wake up, the captain shouted at him. Call on your God. Come as a God. Maybe he will have compassion on us, and we won't perish. But Jonah knew the truth. This storm had a name. It had direction. It had purpose. When they cast lots to discover who had brought this calamity, all fell on him. I am a Hebrew, he finally confessed, and I serve the God of heaven who made the sun and the dry land. This storm is because of me. Terror filled the sailors' faces. They had heard of the God of the Hebrews, the one who divided the sea, the one who destroyed armies. What shall we do to you so that the sea will calm down? And Jonah, in the only moment of honesty in this entire episode, answered, Take me and throw me into the sea, because I know that this great storm has come upon you because of me. The sailors tried to row toward land, but the sea became more furious. There was no other option. With tears in their eyes, they cried out, "O Lord, let us not perish for this man's life." And they threw Jonah into the sea. Immediately the sea calmed, as if someone had flipped a cosmic switch. But I wasn't finished with Jonah. In the depths, where sunlight doesn't reach, where silence is absolute, a great fish approached, not to destroy, to preserve. 3 days, 3 nights. In darkness, in the belly of the beast, no escape, no excuses, nowhere to run, just Jonah and his conscience, just Jonah and his fears, just Jonah and me. It was there in the deepest darkness where he finally prayed, When my soul fainted within me, I remembered you, Lord. My prayer came to you, to your holy temple. On the third day, the fish vomited him onto dry land. Jonah fell to his knees in the sand, his clothes soaked with salt water and repentance. And my voice came to him again. Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and proclaim to it the message I will tell you. This time Jonah obeyed. Do you know what Jonah never really understood? He wasn't running from Nineveh. He was running from who he was called to be. He was running from the version of himself that I had designed him, the version that could preach mercy even to his enemies, the version that could be an instrument of my grace even when they didn't deserve it. And you do exactly the same thing. When I call you to forgive the one who hurt you, you run to your work. When I ask you to start that business, you hide in your comfort zone. When I challenge you to be a leader, you take refuge in your false humility. It's just that I'm not good at that, Jesus. It's just that I don't have the preparation. It's just that those people won't listen to me. The same excuses as Jonah, the same justifications. But listen to me clearly. I don't call you because you're perfect. I call you so you can become perfect in the process. Do you know what's most tragic about Jonah's entire story? That at the end, when Nineveh repented, when the whole city converted, when 120,000 people were saved, Jonah got angry. He sat under a plant and wished to die because I had shown mercy to his enemies. He never understood that the plan wasn't just to save Nineveh. It was to transform his heart. It was to teach him that my love is greater than his prejudices. And you? Are you going to understand it? Today, I am the sea that awakens you from your comfortable sleep. I am the storm that shakes your boat of excuses. I am the fish that preserves you in darkness, to give you a second chance. But I am also the voice calling you for the second time. Your Nineveh is waiting. That difficult conversation you have been avoiding. That decision you know you have to make. That person you need to forgive. That dream you need to pursue. Don't wait for the storm. You don't need to reach the belly of the fish. Rise up now, go to your Nineveh, and trust that I will equip you along the way. Because it's not about whether you're capable, it's about whether I'm capable through you. And the answer is always yes. Jonah never understood that running from me is running from his own greatness. Don't make his mistake. Rise up. Your purpose awaits you. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you hope in a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Jesus now, every week, a new revelation to awaken your destiny.